And party leaders congratulate President-elect Joe Biden on the U.S. election victory. This is the Great White North Report. Alright, the Prime Minister says he's looking forward to working with Biden to tackle the world's greatest... Okay. As everyone knows, the U.S. had their election last week, and it's been a complete fiasco right now. There hasn't yet been a declared winner, though the press has gone ahead and carpe diemed based on their projections and say Biden has won, and everyone's acting like he has. And that includes our glorious Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Now, U.S. politics is very interesting, much more interesting than our boring Canadian politics. But let's dive into this a little more. So, Trudeau says he's looking forward to working with Biden to tackle the world's greatest challenges. Like, really? Trudeau is not equipped to deal with any challenges, and neither is Biden. Biden will be a bad president. He's already a very corrupt politician. 47 years and has been wrong on every policy issue. Has done nothing but increase taxes and force more regulation down business throats to stifle things. So don't look for any miracles with Biden. So anyway, Trudeau congratulated him, as well as Kamala Harris, who's just a piece of work in her own right. Our two countries are close friends, partners, and allies. We share a relationship that's unique on the world stage. I'm really looking forward to working together and building on that with you both. November 7, 2020. First of all, Trudeau took a beating from Trump over the new NAFTA negotiations. Trudeau didn't really have much going for him. Trump just bulldozed everything over him. Now, the U.S. networks went ahead and called the election, even though it is yet to be certified. Okay, let's me put this clearly. And a lot of guys like Ben Shapiro, Tim Pool, Steven Crowder, Amy Brown, Candace Owens, they'll tell you it is yet to be certified. So Biden doesn't have victory. He's projected to win the certain states, and Trump has already issued lawsuits against those states over voting irregularities. One thing to note that in U.S. elections there is always voter fraud, but it's not usually widespread. You always find out that dead people voted, or there's been some other irregularities. Usually only a couple hundred votes in a certain area. Now, this news article says that Trump not making concession speeches damages democracy. So-called expert. This guy doesn't do his fact-checking. First of all, Al Gore in 2000 did not make a concession speech until mid-December. He too launched a lawsuit against the state of Florida and demanded a recount, because at the time Florida was controlled by George W. Bush's brother, Jed, and there was some voting irregularities there in Florida, and all it did was swing less than a couple of thousand votes back to Gore, but not enough for him to win the state. And then after that happened, after the recount, he did make a concession speech. So this so-called expert here, I don't know what his name was. I didn't bother to check because just an idiot who doesn't know what he's talking about. Got it wrong. He forgot Bush versus Gore in 2000 election. Does it damage democracy? No. If Trump believes, and his team, he's got a legal team telling him, right, that there are many irregularities in these places, he should challenge it. That's what he's doing. That's democracy. He can challenge it. You don't think there's any fraud when there's 150 million people voted all of a sudden? Is it enough to swing the vote back to Trump's favor? Possibly, but probably not. So I'm sitting on the fence here. Biden looks to be the winner, but Trump has a slight chance. Now, according to Mitch McConnell, the top Senate Republican, he says Trump is within his rights to question election results. That's true. What happens if Trump decided to concede and then 4 years later we find out that there was rampant voter fraud? in certain areas that Trump was projected to win. Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Wisconsin are all the states that he's looking at right now, because there were some irregularities in all of those states. Now, already the news media, Reuters, they're saying Trump faces several legal challenges when he leaves office. Criminal and civil pros of Trump organization loom. Defamation suits from women he accuses. This has been going on. Trump's always had to face these all his life. And he faced them in his term of office. Stormy Daniels. He had to go through that fake impeachment hearing that the Democrats tried to put down. Meanwhile, the CCP virus was just starting to kick in the States, and Trump had to deal with his impeachment thing. So I wouldn't worry too much about the defamation suits. Wouldn't worry too much about his legal challenges. Trump has had many legal challenges over the course of his life, and he's going to have a few more. Now, for myself, I don't like Trump the person. Like, he's too much of an ego. He's got too much ego, and he's a bully. But sometimes you need a bully to stand up to a bully, like China. So that was perfect. Biden is soft as a tissue on China. It was under the Obama-Biden team that allowed China to build those artificial islands in the South China Sea, and it's causing a lot of problems for countries like Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Taiwan, as well as Japan and Korea. They're also mixed in there. And the Australians, they were waking up. So that all started under the Obama-Biden team. Now, Biden is corrupt himself. Everyone says that Donald Trump is corrupt. He's the worst person possible. But so is Biden. And the mainstream media has not really been covering this too well, as the long-standing claims of Biden corruption all but confirmed with Hunter's emails. Everyone knows about Ukraine. Hunter Biden was on the board of a Ukrainian oil company called Burisma that was being investigated and in court in Ukraine. The Ukrainian head prosecutor was looking into the corruption of Burisma. Hunter was connected to that. So Joe Biden went to Ukraine and said, foreign aid package of until you fire that prosecutor.
I remember going over convincing our team or others to convincing that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to the press conference. I said, no, I said, I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid.
Now, like I said, Trump had to deal with an impeachment thing 11 months ago. And that, I think, affected the realities of the CCP virus when it was spreading. It was just starting to spread. People were more concerned about the impeachment than they were about what was going on in China. And that harmed the American people. Now, Trump's handling of the virus wasn't exactly great, but in the United States, the states have a lot of power too. And places like Michigan and New York State didn't do so well either. And those are led by Democrats. They were shoving people with the CCP virus into old folks' homes. Because that's where the ventilators were at the time. That just made things worse. So will Trump go off into the sun? If he loses his lawsuits, he will go off into the sunset and he'll say he was robbed. And he probably was. Now, he's going to get no political obituary because he and his legacy aren't done. Now, I agree he was a very polarizing person. Either you loved him or you hated him. And the haters just loved to hate him because he had his Twitter fingers just loved to get people riled up. But let's face it, he reshaped the federal judiciary. He installed 3 Supreme Court justices and 220 judges overall on the federal bench, all for lifetime appointments. Now, everyone said, oh, you should wait till after election before appointing the third, but no, the Democrats did the same thing when they had that chance. But every president who's had a Supreme Court choice close to an election day has done the same thing. It's part of their job. So 25% of all U.S. Circuit Court judges will be Trump nominees. He's appointed 53 judges on 13 U.S. Circuit Courts, and former President Obama appointed 55 circuit judges in his 2 terms of the White House. So he did it more in 4 years than Obama did in 8 years as far as judicial. So his presidency will continue to influence American politics for a long time. He also secured some historic Middle East peace deals. He did it with United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and now Sudan. And I think what it means is they've recognized Israel as a country and their right to exist, which puts a nail in the coffin of the PLO. And if this deal sticks, that will be his legacy. He'll deserve a Nobel Peace Prize for this. That is something to be proud of, and not take that away from him. Him and his administration, as well as his other wins. He didn't start any wars. Everyone thought he'd be a warmonger who would start wars left, right, and center, but no. It was pretty peaceful. He tried to withdraw troops as much as possible from Afghanistan. He got some out, but not many. He's been standing up to China, which is more than Obama and Biden ever did. So like I said, it was pretty premature for Trudeau to jump the gun and congratulate Biden. He shouldn't have did it. He should have waited until they'd been certified by the election board. Because this thing isn't over and it's going to drag on in December. Just like Bush versus Gore, Americans should calm down. Like, you notice that even though Biden is claiming victory and Trump is apparently on his way out, Republican supporters are not rioting. There's no riots, there's no mass protest. Had the shoe been on the other foot, had Trump won, the leftists, Antifa, and the Black Lives Matter movement would have been rioting again. The hypocrisy of the Democrats and the left is amazing. Ocasio-Cortez wants to have a truth and reconciliation trials. She wants the Democrats to go through witch trials to weed out all the Trump supporters. Like, are you kidding? Trump has done more for the city of New York than she has ever done in her life. Before she became a congresswoman, she was mixing drinks at a bar. Trump has had a lasting influence on New York City. Whether it was good or bad, I know he's done some bad things, but hey, his presidency will actually go down as being one of the more successful. Canadians out there, let me know what you guys think. And until next time, this has been the Great White North Report.
Government's more expensive than the last. Watch the fresh ways they have to waste our taxes fast. You can try to hang me, I'll make sure the rope gets broke. Proving once again this country's justice is a joke. I'm in